Check 1, 2. All right, let's get her going. Everybody got their water? Ready for the day? Let's give her a go. Bop, bop, bop. After this bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, folks. Welcome back to Surely Sound Studio. My name is Martin. You can call me Marty. This is my show. So let's go. What's going on with Bitcoin? Where's it going to go? Up or down? Probably both. Let's have a look and see. Well, I want to start off with saying, hey, everybody. Hope your day is going well. Where do you think Bitcoin's going to go? Short term, I bet you we're going to go down. Long term, we're going to go up. Let's dissect it a little more than that, though. Let's start off with a little bit of good news. Fear and greed. Look at this. All the way down to 10. Last time we saw it at 10 was 27th of December, or sorry, the 27th of February, 2025. Let's go have a look and see where we were there. March, February 27th, right there. So right at this dip. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. Everybody gets scared. Oh, but then look what happened. Everybody got scared and it came right back up to fair value. But then I got rejected from the POC, like I was saying before, in this range when we were getting rejected from the POC. We saw that, right? So I was moving in ranges. This was our range. We lost it, came down here for a bit, came back up. Now we've made this range in here. We are below the POC, but look at it, we're quite a bit higher than we were when we made. Okay, settle down, music. Quite a bit higher than last time we were this scared in the market. So I'd say that's short-term bullish. But as you can see, we came up only to make lower lows, lower highs, lower lows for the next month and a half, 2 months almost. So honestly goes pretty well with what I believe is going to happen next here right now. We put this box in here looking for longs, basically looking for scalp longs, not looking for swing longs in here. We've lost this channel and we're now getting rejected by the POC. We have a fractal here that's rolling over and it's starting to fall off a cliff pretty quickly here. Next high volume node is down here. We have this massive volume gap with a little bit of a gap in here, which would make a lot of sense. So if you see, maybe we see a bounce up into the red box, and then we come back and see the green, and then another bounce way up to the POC, and then maybe we come down 85K. 84K would be our next POC down here. 84K 042 would be not out of the question. Here we go on this chart here, a little bit more zoomed in. We have that box and 84K. Just have a lot of volume down here. A lot of people are interested in the Bitcoin price down here, so likely would see some support down here. Now, if we look at that fear and greed index, typically it is a good time to start looking at buying or start DCAing if you want to, if that's your goal. Now, for me, I'm not going to be DCAing just yet because I have this zone in here that we put in here, I don't know, somewhere when we were in this range. So, at the beginning of this year, we did a little DCAing in here, and we were looking for long positions, swing long positions in here, which is leverage, means you're borrowing money, so it's irresponsible. And of course, it's just kind of really under this green line, because if you are going to be a buyer below this green line, it doesn't really matter how low it's going to go. You're going to continue to buy, because if this indicates you as being a buyer below this line, well, then any price below that line, you're a buyer. So it goes down into the green there. You would probably be safe to DCA, not financial advice. Nothing I do or say on this entertainment show should be taken as financial advice, but we do know that the dollar is going to be printed into non-existence, so you want to hold assets long term. And if you have no assets, well, then Bitcoin's a good thing to study, because it's an asset that you can buy for $10. As little as $10 you can buy Bitcoin. Most assets are like houses and gold and stuff like that, and maybe you can buy increments of gold too, but I don't know, do you had a safe? You got somewhere to keep it? You want to keep it in the bank? I don't know. That's up to you. That's your decision. But I find digital assets to be a lot easier to manage, and also they're liquid, which is one of the biggest things I think Bitcoin has on anything right now. And also, for better or for worse, things like this happen in Bitcoin because it's so liquid. You can sell Bitcoin or you can buy Bitcoin anytime, any day, anywhere in the world, right? So if you have gold and you want to dump gold, it's you have to find someone to buy it. You have to go somewhere. You have to carry it there. You have to exchange it hand for hand. Like, it's going to take time, as well as where Bitcoin, you can just hit the sell button and you sold it, right? So that's what liquidity means. It's liquid. The top liquid asset means that you can buy or sell it without any resistance. Cash is hard to get rid of, especially if you're talking about dealing with the banks who have all the cash. So if you're dealing with a lot of money, for people who deal with hundreds or thousands of dollars, even tens of thousands of dollars, it's not really that big a deal. But when you're dealing with hundreds of thousands, millions and billions of dollars, you need an asset that is liquid. It is the most beneficial for you to make quick decisions, especially if you're trading, which we know the richest people in the world trade, because the financial market is designed and set up for asset holding traders. It's what it is. That's who created the market that you live in, and they created it for themselves. So if you can't beat them, join them would be my advice to you, because I'll tell you right now, you can't beat them, especially with how much they own and how much influence they have. It's going to be very hard. Even for me, someone who knows how it works, I find myself getting influenced by, Blue Jays, stuff like that, right? Like, I still like to be entertained. I like to have dopamine hits. I like to watch sports and stuff like that. So it's, if you have no idea how the world works, then you have no chance. But don't feel bad about it. Just keep studying and keep learning. But let's have a look at this. So Bitcoin ETF inflows, outflows. Inflows are green, outflows are red. So obviously in the last week or so, we've seen more outflows than inflows. But overall, it's definitely still more inflows. And we saw this big outflow back here in February. Look at that, February 2025. And then we kind of didn't see much, and it kind of went sideways for a bit, and people kind of were like, well, and that's probably the lower low there. And then all of a sudden buyers came back in, right? So we had a big buy spike, and then it kind of dipped off and we hit a low, and then we kind of went back up, and then we hit another buy spike or a double top here, and now it's coming back down low. So we're in a downtrend. We're getting, when we're in a downtrend, at some point there will be a bottom, a local bottom. And so if you do not have any exposure to Bitcoin, if you bought today, you would not be buying the top. And that's all you really want to do, is especially if you're getting started, you just don't want to buy the top. Just don't buy the top. You could have bought here right? If you're DCAing, because you never go all in at once. You never go $5,000 in at once unless you have a $100,000 budget. You go, if you have a $5,000 budget, then you go $100 a week for a year and see how it goes, right? There's $5,200, 52 weeks, $5,200, $100 a week. Simple stuff like that, right? You have it in your budget already that it doesn't matter whether the price goes up or down. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect your budget. Everything else that your rent, your mortgage, your family, your car, your whatever needs to be taken care of is taken care of before your investments, right? So one of the best advice an investor could give to another starting investor is live beneath your means and invest the rest. So take care of everything that you need to take care of, right? You want to make sure that you're healthy. You want to make sure, as an investor, we're planning for the future. And we're thinking about the future. So that not only our finances, that's also our health, that's also our family, that's also our business, that's also everything else that we're working on, right? So make sure that all the essentials are taken care of, and then you can invest the rest. Don't consume the rest. That's all you really need to change. Everybody has a budget to one degree or another, whether they're stick to it or not. They still have to abide by some sort of budget because there is a certain amount of money that you need to live or maintain the quality of life that you prefer. So at some point, people usually do what they need to do to take care of the things that they need to take care of, but then they'll go to the bar and spend $500, or they'll go and buy cigarettes, or just things that you consume that you get nothing out of. You get temporary fixes, but it's not planning for the future. And all literally just that money is just your hard-earned money. You're just losing it. It's gone. And probably affecting your health negatively. Most of the things, junk food, alcohol, stuff like that. It's fun in the time. It's like a quick fix, but it literally just usually makes things worse in the long term. Quote, hangover the next day and stuff like that. Just not feeling well, eating junk food, not working out, stuff like that. Like it's if you're not thinking about the future and you're only living in the day, then you pretty much are stuck in a day-to-day basis. If you're not planning for the future, your future will be the same as today. And if you're happy with what we got today, well, then that's fine. But if you're not happy and you complain constantly, well, then you should probably think about the future and maybe make some adjustments. And it's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen in a year probably. But eventually, as long as you stick to your goals and stick to your plan and stay disciplined, you will get to where you want to get to. That's another thing too. It's like if you picture it in your mind, it has to happen in your mind first. Picture where you want to be, and then make it happen by maintaining discipline. And that's all you really need to do. And then let time and let the universe take effect after that. Because if you continue to strive for a goal, talk about it, manifest it, talk to yourself out loud. Like, your body is made up of majority of water, and water is influenceable. Okay, so you can influence yourself by talking to yourself or just saying out loud. You don't have to consider it talking to yourself. You can say it just, I'm thinking out loud, right? If people think you're crazy around you, it's like, whatever. Again, who cares what other people think? I am on here talking to nobody on YouTube so that I'm not talking to myself, but I'm talking about what I want to influence on myself. So it's that's my excuse. If you want to start a YouTube channel, you can do that too. It's free. Just start a YouTube channel, man. You can do it. Everybody can be on TV in these days nowadays. It's like, sometimes I catch my daughters watching the weirdest things on TV, and I'm like, what are you watching? Like, who are these people? What do they do? Anybody can be on TV. They're not cool just because they're on TV, right? Okay, 2025. What a crazy year. But yeah, I do think overall for the Bitcoin price, we might see a little bit of relief here. We got a nice big open volume gap in here that could come back, and we could spend some more time in here. But ultimately, I do think that over the next 3 months at least, we are going to see some, we're going to continue the downtrend. So, but eventually there'll be a bottom. Now, if we continue to do what we have done in the past with all the Bitcoin cycles, where we hit a top in Q4 and we spend the next year going down and we retrace to the 618, then our timeline and price range puts us down in, where have I got it? Somewhere down in the 50,000s by October-ish next year. So this is on the table, I think, but not 100% chance this happens. Of course, nothing is ever 100%. Excuse me. Nothing is ever 100%, but we do know that there's a likelihood of a correction. Okay, so a lot of the people that have been selling over the past month have been, quote, Satoshi era whales. So these are people that have been holding for 10 plus years. And we see, of course, these people that have been holding for 10 plus years have a lot of Bitcoin. They bought it for very, very cheap. They're selling thousands of Bitcoin, selling tens of thousands of Bitcoin worth billions and millions of dollars. Okay. The crazy thing is that with these large sales, these Satoshi era whales dumping, we have only seen approximately 25% drawdown from the top. Now, I think that's actually quite substantial, because with the amount of Bitcoin that has been sold over the past 2 months, or month and a half, however, we have that's nothing. That is nothing. It has been, the reason why the price hasn't dropped so much is because it's been getting bought up. And who's been buying it? Of course, the ETFs and the institutional money, the governments and the countries. And we're seeing we're seeing billions of dollars of Bitcoin getting absorbed, which is quite substantial in my opinion. If the people and the countries and the governments that are buying Bitcoin right now don't stop, which why would they? Because if they're starting to buy now, like I said, their threshold has been hit. For me, my threshold was there, and if it goes anywhere, if it continues to go down, I'm not going to stop buying, especially if you're the people that are in control of all the money. If it has hit your threshold already and they're buying, they're not going to stop buying, because if the price goes down, they're just going to buy more, buy more, buy more, buy more. This pretty much seals the deal that they want all of it. So this pattern here, this range, this trail, whatever you want to call this prediction, could very well get cut short. Now, I do think it would make a lot of sense for us to come back into at least this range here. We've got a pretty big gap in the spider line. So if we lose this, there's a good chance that, we do something crazy. Like, I think things are going to get very volatile. There's going to be large moves coming in the next few months, up and down. It's going to be like, what they are trying to do is accumulate as much Bitcoin as they can, and they can do that by liquidating traders. Okay, now if you are just buying spot Bitcoin, you're safe. You can just continue to DCA and none of this affects you. But if you're trading, every time you put a trade in, you either have a liquidation price if you don't use the other stop loss. So I would recommend, if you're going to be trading, use stop losses, or at least know when it gets to a certain price, you're out. If you want to do a manual stop loss, that's one thing, but you got to be paying attention, because things can move quickly, very, very quickly. So you can do automatic stop losses where if it hits, it's a trigger price. If the price hits there, the exchange will market sell or market buy, continue to get you out of the position and stop your loss. Or if you don't do that, then it goes to 98% of your position and just liquidates you for the other 2% to cover fees. So your drawdown can never be 100% because you need to cover fees. So it usually liquidates you around 95, depending on your leverage. If your leverage is higher, I think if you have 100x leverage, it liquidates you around like 55% because it needs to cover the cost. So definitely don't use too much leverage if you don't know what you're doing. If you're a new trader, definitely do not go over 10x leverage. Do not go over 10x leverage. I repeat, do not go over 10x leverage. If you want to lose your money and you just want to, learn a lesson, or if you throw $100 at 100x and you don't care about the $100, it's a gamble. That's all it is. You might win. You probably will lose. Even if you do go up, you probably won't take profits, because that's the state of mind that people like that have. And they just, it's going to 1 million, right? It's like, no, take profits. If you're in the green, take profits, especially if you're at 100x. But if you're looking for something more like a swing trade or something like that, 5x, know what you're looking at. But look at this, right? So up, down, fractal. We make our uptrend turns into a downtrend, and then our downtrend turns into an uptrend, and then we got a little flag here, but it's basically just continuing the uptrend, and then continuing the uptrend. This is pure manipulation right here, pure manipulation. But if that weren't to happen, here we go. This is the fractal. This to me is pretty much the indicator that this was the top locally anyways, because what this is a manipulated pump to liquidate the short positions. The people that are shorting this, which were right. Honestly, they were right. They had the direction right. We had a double top here, and all the short positions. Even I took a nice short position from there. I of course moved my stop to break even and took profit on VWAP, but before getting stopped out, I did not long this because I did not expect that. I did, however, catch a little short from here because I was like, this just looks like a liquidation wick basically. So I did catch a short from there, of course closed it because I'm day trading and scalping. I'm not holding a lot of swings. My swings would have been all the profits I took from my spot bags and 1 to all these 3 highs here. Those would be my swing trades, and those paid for anything that I needed to pay off my debts, whatever else I needed to do, right? So those are my swing trades. And if I'm looking to get back into long swing trades, well, then I'm looking at probably first off, well, any of these green lines, because these are my DCA buys on the way down. So why not do the same thing again? If we continue to go down, well, then I just continue to DCA in, and we continue to grind and do whatever we need to do to create an income for ourselves and invest while we can, because we know for a fact that the big players want the Bitcoin. They want all the Bitcoin, and that right now is their only chance of maintaining control. The way that the world works right now is for them to control the Bitcoin, because Satoshi gave the common man an out. It was manipulated by a lot of different people and media and stuff that don't want things to change, don't want us to prosper, because they want their way of life to stay the way it is. So there's a lot of people that changed their life with Bitcoin because they hopped on early, just like anything else. Whenever you're investing, pay attention to tech. We're obviously moving into a digital era. Now, will that digital era get rug pulled? That's a very, very important question. I do, and this could be the catalyst that sends us much lower. It could be because AI is becoming unsustainable. The amount of energy that it takes to run all these computers, supercomputers that are running constantly, and now almost half or over half the population is using AI on a regular basis. We're running out of elements, and we're running out of ways to cool these computers, to cool these like all these banks, these software banks. I don't know if you've ever seen what it looks like, but like when you see a bunch of servers, they're all just supplying you a platform to be on the internet. You need constant servers running for the internet to run, and of course they run hot. And just like your computer, it will get hot if it runs too hard, and these servers never get turned off, so they need to be cooled. A lot of these servers we know were built in California, because that was where tech kind of really started taking off, right? Silicon Valley and places like that. So we now know that the United States is doing their best to find colder climate to control, so that they can start building new server centers in colder climates, because it's becoming a huge problem. They were using water cooled to begin with, and that's not, you would think that, okay, we got a lot of water. Yes, that is great, but it doesn't work. It ends up boiling the water, and it literally gets hot enough to eventually boil the water to the point where it becomes steam, dissipates, and you lose your water. So they started using gases like helium and other certain gases to try and keep these things cold. And now we're running out of those, and it's becoming, the prices of some of these gases is one way you can look at it, is they're going up astronomically because the demand is going up astronomically. So if we have a resource crunch, it would make complete sense, because we had the dot-com bubble. Remember the dot-com bubble? The internet started, but then it was a fad, right? And sure enough, ended up having quite a large correction before coming back and being the infrastructure that we live on today, right? So we had a problem, we solved that problem, but with solving that problem, we created another problem. And that's usually how things go. Whenever we have a solution, it usually causes another problem, right? So, because we need to continue to adjust and continue to learn to figure this out. So I would not be surprised if this AI situation, whatever you want to call it, this AI era that we're in right now, turns into an unsustainable, like, environment because of the resources, and because first of all, because we jumped in head first and like very quickly. We're talking in less than 5 years here, we have full on AI infrastructure before you can argue that Google search was like some of the first AI, but like really you can't argue that in the last 2 years since ChatGPT has come out and all these other ones, it's been nuts. Everything has been taken over by AI. AI wants to take over the internet. People are being replaced by AI. Jobs are being replaced by AI. It's come in hot. Okay, very, very, very hot. Pun intended. So we need to figure out a way to keep it from getting too hot and exploding. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised, because of human nature, because of human greed, because of just the way that history has happened in the past. Usually of something very similar happens again. So maybe we bit off a little bit more than we could chew here in the beginning, and it wouldn't surprise me if something falls apart, something goes down, and then this would be the catalyst of the bear market. So we have some sort of news where something happens and the Bitcoin price dumps. Oh man, it dumps, and then it pumps 15%, but then it dumps another 20%. You're like, oh no. And this is because certain people that are over leveraged, or not positioned properly, not managing their risk properly, just get shaken out of the market. And guess who's buying it every single time this happens? We know who's buying it, because it's the same people who bought all the Amazon stock, and the same people who bought all the Microsoft stock, right? It's the same. Nvidia is unsustainable. Planeteer is unsustainable. They cannot continue to grow at the rate that it's been growing at and have it sustainable. We just don't have the resources for it. So it would make complete sense for us to have quite the correction. Okay. So and then how much would you be kicking yourself, especially if you went on the weekly time frame, get rid of all the drawings, and just look at the chart, right? Look at the chart. So unsustainable pump, grind, follow down, and then start to grind back. Oh my god, unsustainable pump. And then we come back down. And we come back down. Don't qualify this. This is market manipulation. This is a pure shakeout, because when we reclaimed this high, or this low here, we lost the low and reclaimed it. Everybody got bullish and everybody got over leveraged. They got wiped out. Oh, look at that, right to the 200 weekly moving average, almost to the dollar. And then we go up again, right? And then we have basically the same thing. And then we have an extreme amount of money printing and stimulus brought into the system, which is potentially what this is. More so of like an inflationary reflect of the price instead of a correction. And then we have the actual correction. And then we just have a slow grind for the last 3 years, right? And this, look at this. We've got one big leg up, or maybe that's a leg up. That's kind of getting on top. Like this is getting on top. One big leg up, consolidation. Another leg up, not as big. So 1, 2, and then another leg up, 3. That's even smaller. Typically you get 1, 2, 3. That's kind of usually how it works. These aren't great representative of it, because this is when Bitcoin was trading for thousands of dollars. So it's a lot easier to move the price up, right? Because if you can buy 10,000 Bitcoin, you can move the price a whole lot more back. If you buy 10,000 Bitcoin, it barely moves the price now because of how much it is. Or sorry, $10,000 with a Bitcoin, not 10,000 Bitcoin. The number of Bitcoin remains the same, but the amount of money that it takes to move the price is much different. But for instance, talking about on that 1, 2, 3, if we go here, and no, let's go to this one actually. So this is a 5-minute time frame. And let's just look at our last fractal that we had, just for reference. So we had one pump, maybe two. This one's smaller, but this one's bigger. And then we had another smaller one before actually rolling over. So I don't know how you want to look at it. You could look at this as one, and then two that's smaller, and then three that's smaller, and then we roll over. And basically the same thing happens. You see the same patterns everywhere. I gave this to the group. I gave this one to the group. I said, boys, when we broke down through this, I was like, this is short, omega short season right here. Omega shorts. And oh man, I don't even want to talk about it, but I took the short and I literally got stopped out. My stop was like right here. I got stopped out to the dollar, and like, oh, it was heartbreaking. And then after that, I'm like, well, now it's too late. Maybe we're going to get back inside and come back up. So then I didn't take the short after that. Even right here on the retest, I don't think I took the short. I think I wasn't at the charts there. Had quite a few messages in here. I think that was Thursday. Yeah. I was probably sleeping. No, 6:45. I was awake. I could have taken that, but I didn't. I missed it. But it's okay, because guess what? The charts continue on and continue on and continue on. And this is, every day we wake up, there's going to be a trade. So nothing to worry about here. So right now, are we going to see it? Are we going to see it in the opposite direction? Where we go now? So if we do threes, power, well, so that's a bigger one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, like it's looking close and we're getting sideways. Is this one even smaller? Is this the daily bottom, a daily local bottom before coming back up? Could be. It could be. I did, from this value area low, I did scalp along. It's sitting in the green right now, but it's just barely in the green. And we're going to be stopped out of that if we lose this low. And then we're going to be looking to this green box, because really, that's where we're going to go next. If we lose this area and this isn't our local bottom, which a play that would make a lot of sense to me, especially since it's a Sunday, would be a nice little bottom here. And it would be nice to come up and pump back up to this. And then on Monday, so Sunday, Monday, throughout the next, we see like a little bit of a come up here, reclaim the POC, and then come back up here to value area high. And then probably like Monday afternoon, it puts the local high in before, and then coming back down and taking this low out. That's kind of my plan that I am trying to stick to right now, hoping that works out. Judging by the charts, I think we might be able to see something like that. Just a little bit of a relief rally to liquidate shorts. And let's see what the heat map says. So yeah, like we have quite a bit of liquidity down here at 93. But we got also quite a bit of liquidity up at 97. So how does that work up here? 103. Okay, so 97. So like, yeah, that liquidity is all sitting up here at this high volume node, and then 93 is just under this high here. So we honestly wouldn't make too much, wouldn't be too surprised if we just came and got that liquidity, this liquidity pretty quickly here before going back up and maybe getting some of this stuff here. But honestly, we are in a downtrend. I've had quite a few people messaging me about Bitcoin's going down. Is this the bottom? Is it going to go lower? And I've just been saying we're in a downtrend. We are in a downtrend. Just keep watching the charts, and until our downtrend actually breaks, like we do have quite a bit of liquidity up here. There is liquidity down here too. It was not showing unless we go further back, but the way that the market will move on a weekly basis, you can kind of pay attention to where is liquidity piling up, and then there's always a good chance that we will go up and retrace and get the shorts before moving lower, or vice versa, go down and get the longs before moving higher. You want to see basically a nice liquidation wick and a nice reaction pop up off of that wick in either direction to kind of and a lot of volume to potentially indicate the bottom or the top. So I mean, arguably you have little one right there, swing failure of that low. That low is taken out and then bounces back on. So I mean, looks okay. Volume could have been a little bit better. Typically would like to see, like that's a massive volume candle, but I would like, if this was the bottom, I would like to see the most volume of the move at the bottom, or the most volume of the move at the top. I mean, this is pure manipulation. That is not typical market structure right there. That is simply an exchange continuing to push the price down to liquidate longs. The rest of this is probably just retail because it's a Sunday. It's a weekend, so the rest of this is probably just retail panicking and selling. And we saw that the fear in greed index was at all-time low, and so a lot of people are not doing so well on their positions. So they're just, a lot of people are like, screw this, I'm out. Screw this, I'm out. So that's what's happening, right? So this is typical price action for just retail. There's a little bit of a wick in here, a little bit of a buyback, a little bit of a heartbeat in here, like a bump, a little speed bump. But yeah, I don't know. Remember, long term, we know where it's going, but I think we do have some more downward price action ahead of us. Doesn't mean we can't pump up and reclaim some of these levels, but I'm personally looking for shorts. Still looking for shorts, and probably, let's see what the RSI is doing here. Probably will continue to look for shorts. Well, I mean, that RSI on the hourly, you know, that's bullish divergence, so that might take us back up here a little bit, just like we're saying. It would make complete sense to come back up here. Got an inefficiency right here we could fill. Probably my other chart probably has that as a red box already. But ultimately, higher time frames, daily time frame, like nothing to indicate a bottom yet. Nothing here that indicates a bottom to me locally. At least macro bottom anyways. Local bottom, we might get a little bit of a push. Look at that. We're under that POC. Maybe we get a push back to 96 today or tomorrow, and then we reject from 96. Although I'd like to see us come a little bit higher, because there is quite a bit of volume gap in here that we could spend some time in and still continue the downtrend. That would make totally sense. And you look at this too, like the same time we were you know, the fear and greed, and sort of typically money flows coming out. You know, whenever money flow is coming out, that's typically terrible for the price. And it's funny because you usually see like mediocre drops as money flows coming out, mediocre drops, and then a little bit of a pump, mediocre drops. But then once it crosses and gets into the red, that's usually when you see the big ones. And I was kind of thinking, honestly, that we would be seeing a bigger dump by now. Because we crossed over a few days ago. I mean, tomorrow's Monday, so that will be the indicator, because we know that it's all on the shoulders of institutions at this point, and nothing's going to really happen on a weekend because they work Monday to Friday, and honestly don't even really work Mondays. So if nothing happens tomorrow, don't be surprised and wait for Tuesday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are usually the days where we see big moves. Nobody likes to work Mondays. Nobody likes to work Fridays. Everybody wants those 5-day weekends, or 4-day weekends. I don't know, 4-day weekends. Work 3 days a week. I mean, when you make that much money, that's all you need to have. You do more than enough, right? So it sucks, because the guys that don't have any money have to work, you know, 5 or 6 days a week, and they're doing all the work and they're paying all the taxes, and it's brutal. I don't like the way that we run the financial system. It makes no sense to me. We tax work, but we don't tax wealth, and it doesn't make any sense, because the workers are the ones. OSB is disconnected. What are you talking about? Oh, we got disconnected there for a sec. What I was saying is, of course we got disconnected, because I was saying that we were taxing the workers and we should be taxing the wealthy. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, are robots actually going to take over the workforce? Because in that case, then you don't want things to change. Because if robots are going to take over the workforce, then you want to be taxed like a wealthy person, because you're not going to be working anymore. But if the robots don't take over the workforce, well, then we shouldn't be taxing work as much as we do. It makes no sense, right? Like, here in Canada, they have extra taxes on alcohol and cigarettes to stop you from work, or to stop you from consuming them, right? Like, higher taxes will stop people from consuming. So does that mean that income tax is supposed to stop me from working? Like, what is that? Like, where are you trying to get at there? Right? It doesn't make sense. And the fact that some people will like argue that it does, or like, I've had some people say some really weird things to me. I'm like, wow, you just have no idea how this thing works, eh? But I mean, it's not their fault. They've been misinformed, and they've been influenced by the wrong people, and they've been influenced heavily. And it's hard. It's hard to not be influenced, and especially when it's people that you like think you really should be able to trust, but they are just being selfish, and they do not have you in their thoughts. They have themselves in their thoughts, but they make it seem like they're thinking about you, and they make it seem like they're trying to benefit you. But it's like, man, look at their bank accounts. Like, they could solve everybody's problems with the money they have, but they're choosing to just continue to shake the carrot in front of your face and say, no, just keep working hard. You got it. You can do this. You can do it. Positive attitude. Just keep at it. It's like, what do you mean, man? At some point, you got to like give your head a shake and think for yourself, and really do your own research and figure out, like, is the thing that I have been listening to and trusting actually true? Is this working out for me? I think is one of the things that really did it for me, because I've had lots of catalysts in my life, whether they're financial or physical, whatever. It's like, it's time for a change. When you have certain things happen, it's time for a change. You need to actually follow through with that change if you want things to change, or to be different, or else the same thing's gonna happen over and over again. The universe is just gonna continue to punish you is until you get it. Until you get it, right? Until you understand, until you make that change, until you do what needs to be done. It's the universe is going to continue to show you the signs and continue to punish you over and over again. So you really gotta, it's up to you. It's up to you. Your life's in your hands. The more you know, the more you question, but at least the more you know, the better you can position yourself for success. What do we got here on the X? I haven't retweeted anything. I haven't been on socials much. Posted a couple things. Didn't do anything else. Posted a couple shorts. Grok says Bitcoin is going to 175 the next 45 days. Based on current data, halving effects, ETF inflows, and forecasts from sources like Van, 180, Tom Lee. Yeah, so it's just taking the internet and what people have posted and giving an average. So that's not intelligent. If that's right, well, that's cool, but I'm gonna say that's gonna be a no, probably not. But here we have a lot of people talking about how this is the bear trap. This isn't the top because we haven't got euphoric yet. So I don't think we're going to get euphoric again, because it takes emotional traders or emotional retail investors to get euphoric. Institutions don't get euphoric. Institutions sell before it gets euphoric, or at least right as it's getting euphoric. So there's it's not going to happen because we don't have retail driving the markets. We have institutions driving the markets now. The big guys are in. The big whales are in. They've been doing this for centuries, literally. These families that have this information and run these things have been doing it for centuries, generations. They're not going to FOMO in now, especially when they have the capital and they know that they can manipulate the price to basically get any order they want, unless retail was to come in and start participating again. Now, us as retail investors have the numbers. If every single person, retail investor, put $1,000 into Bitcoin all at once, everybody would get rich. Isn't that funny? Do the math. How many people are in the world? How much money would that be? Right? Talking over $21 million here, bud. Or over 20, it would be like, I'm not going to do the math for you, but you can figure it out, right? We got the numbers. But we don't got the balls, apparently. Retail just wants to complain and tuck their nutsack up under their friggin'... Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? But I don't know. A lot of this stuff, this is the exact same type of stuff that I saw at the top the last time. Like, so I don't really way more worse than others. Yeah. So there you go. It's definitely cooked. There's something that makes sense. Like, this guy makes a lot of money trading. So I would I lean towards listening to him over other people who are just trying to feed you hopium. But I mean, I've seen this guy get wrecked too. But overall, he's doing quite well, quite better than than most. Doing better than most. So I don't know. It's tough to say. Tough to say for sure. We know that the dollar is just going to lose purchasing power over time, and things like assets are only going to go up in value. So if you have any chance to position yourself, I think now is the chance. Now is the time to start paying attention, potentially start DCAing. I haven't said that. I don't think I've said that yet this year. Maybe very, very beginning when we broke back below 100K again. But I've only bought Bitcoin maybe 3 times this year, and because I knew this was going to happen, right? And I told a lot of people that this is profit taking season, especially when everybody was calling for October. I was like, this is our opportunity to get out. I told my group, I was like, boys, make sure you have everything unstaked. Make sure you have everything on the ready to go, even potential limit orders already set so that you don't even have to worry about it. And, well, did they? I don't know. I didn't see anybody sharing any big profit taking. So I'm inclined to believe that they didn't, because it's hard, man. When it's going up, you're like, oh, it's just going to keep going up, right? That's the initial thought when you see anything pumping. You're like, yes, it's just going to keep going up. Why would I sell this now? It's just going up, right? But it's then once it starts going down, you're like, but that's why we don't sell all. That's why we don't buy all, right? You DCA in, you DCA out. You do it over time. You understand like swing positions. You understand how the market works. You understand how the cycles work, and you can position yourself to take small losses occasionally, but overall we're taking much larger wins. And ultimately the goal is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as you can, because it is the most liquid asset that we have known to mankind. So in my opinion, I mean, it's that for that reason alone, the liquidity aspect of it is what makes it the most, it's the king, right? It's what makes it the most valuable asset, because you can buy or sell it at any time, right? Banks are closed. I don't know if you do the math with like weekends and stat holidays and like hours, banks are like not even open for, I think, like a quarter of the year, right? Because they're only open for not even 8 hours a day, and then they're not open on weekends, and then they're not open on holidays. So it's like, you know, it's far less than 50% of the year. So it's like, how can you compete with something that's available in liquid 24/7, 365 when you're doing that, when you're closing? Like, you know, it's because we rely on people to validate everything at the bank, right? People have to fill out the forms, and people have to do this. And now with Bitcoin and AI, we have things done by algorithms, and we have things done by computers. So it just doesn't make any sense for the traditional banking system to last very much longer. Just think of it like this: like when the internet first got started, there was 1 or 2% of the population that used it. The rest of the people just kind of laughed and said, oh well, that's not going to last. And then sure enough, there was a big shakeout like we were talking about earlier. But then here we are some decades later, and it is the infrastructure of our entire existence. So why did that happen? Because it's a lot more efficient to send a text than it is to phone somebody. Arguably, depending on what you're trying to accomplish, but or an email as opposed to sending a letter and stuff like that, right? So it's like, taxi drivers are getting out from Uber. Banks are, the post office isn't out. They were talking about the post office being out because of email, but of course that was replaced again with buying stuff online. So they got, a lot, like 0 letters, but a lot of packages. So it's like they actually ended up booming for them. But all in all, it's clearly a shift to technology in a digital era, right? So especially when we see the institutions and the people that are running the financial system buying as much as they have, soaking up this liquidity, taking these opportunities. When they see 25% drawdown, we're seeing volume coming in, and never before. I think I read something the other day that said there's been more volume in Bitcoin over the past month than ever in history. And we've only gone down. Like usually when you see these large volume spikes, it's the price moves in one direction or the other because it was a massive buy or it was a massive sell. This time we saw the largest volume in a month and the price only dropped 25%. So like if compared to other times, you know, that would have been, if there was not buyers to pick that up, you know, it could have been a 50, could have been a 40% drop easily, but we're seeing it get bought up. And it's just like, it's an eye opener for me that this bear market probably won't be traditional in the sense of that we go down 60%. I just, you know, it's still on the table. It has to still be on the table because of past performance. But if there is anything different about this cycle, it's that the big players are in and the big players are buying. And it seems to be that they are buying regardless of price. So definitely time to pay attention. Opportunity is like on the other side of the door. And the door is cracked open here. Like you can peek through. It's not wide open, but it's cracked open. And I don't know how much of a glance you're going to get, right? Because if these guys want it all, they'll take it all. So you need to make sure that you're peeking through the door and starting to try and figure out and think for yourself, do your own research, where we are going to be in 5 to 10 years with the financial system. Given everything else that's happened in the past and everything that's transitioned the way it has, where do you think we're going to be with the financial system? Are we going to be still waiting for bank transfers for 3 to 7 business days? Are we going to be waiting until the banks are open and, you know, not doing anything on holidays? If you're a business owner and you want to move money around and you want to work, because if you're a business owner, you don't work 9 to 5, you work 24/7. So you need a bank or you need some sort of financial backing that also works 24/7, right? And so to me, this is, you know, not financial advice. This is my personal opinion. I see the banking system, if not adapting very, very quickly to what's going on. And it looks like they're trying to, but I don't think they're doing it fast enough. But if not for that, then they will be completely restructured because of what entrepreneurs decide to do. If entrepreneurs decide to start using Bitcoin because it's liquid 24/7, then the banks will have no choice but to adapt, right? So it's up to us to force what they're going to do. And so with that, I think I'm going to head out for the day. Hope you all have a great day. Get outside, touch some grass. I think it was a pretty nice day out there, but the weather can change on a dime around here up in Canada. Could be snowing. So if it is, make sure you dress warm, but still stay cool. All right, peace out, guys. Have a good day. Now, which one's the outro? I can't remember which one's the outro. Maybe it's this one. I recommend putting your opinions aside and learning how to think logically